Okay, we've recorded an earthquake swarm in the Brawley seismic zone down just north of the Mexican border in Imperial County. We've had over 400 earthquakes. The two largest were 5.3 and 5.5. This type of swarm that goes on for many hours with hundreds of events is actually typical of the Brawley seismic zone. So at magnitude 5.5, which is the largest event, caused some minor damage in Brawley, disrupted the power system, threw things off of shelves. In other parts of the country, without the building codes that we have here in California, or where you have a lot of older buildings that weren't built to code, you can see a lot more damage. But there have been so many earthquakes over the years in Imperial County, those buildings are gone. We have the San Andreas Fault comes down and ends at the Salton Sea, and then we have something called the Brawley seismic zone that extends from the southern end of the San Andreas Fault to the northern end of the Imperial Fault, and connects it with a band of all these little tiny faults. So we don't get one big earthquake, we get little ones on these various intersecting faults. Back in the 30s there were a lot, and then in 1940 there was a magnitude 7 on the Imperial Fault, and things went very quiet after that. We sort of think that maybe it helped sort of relax the system, and then it gradually built back up. The 60s and then the 70s we were having lots of these swarms. 79 there was another big earthquake on the Imperial Fault, a 6.5, and it went quiet again for a while. Now there have been some other activity. We had a magnitude 6.6 in 1987. If you live in Imperial County, you're used to feeling earthquakes. It's characteristic of a particular area when you have a very hot crust, when you tend to have very small faults, because it's the length of the fault that determines the size of the earthquake. There isn't a big fault there to produce a magnitude 7 or whatever. And also places where there's a lot of fluids, we seem to have this more often, and we think that it's connected to some sort of fluid migration issue, but we don't have the physics all worked out yet.